Well, let's now return to our coverage of the U.S. President's impeachment hearings in Washington. Dr. Robert Gutsche is an expert on U.S. politics at the University of Lancaster, from where he joins me now. Good to talk to you, Robert. What a day it was. In the analysis after this pivotal day, was this bombshell testimony, as it's been described, enough to lead to impeachment?
Well, certainly you are hearing from some staunch Republicans that it just might be. It certainly didn't help that Donald Trump's reaction to this was, I want nothing, on notes that he had walked out with a bit of a circus, I think, in terms of how the White House has handled that. And so, yes, hearing this sort of testimony that everybody knew what was going on, that this was very clearly a political move, and that there were so many people concerned about it, has moved even the most staunch Republicans to question maybe this really was something bad and something that will lead to an actual impeachment hearing.
To your point about the notes that he stood outside the White House with, the notes from that phone call came after a call that came after he had been made aware that a complaint had been made to Congress. So again, that does look manufactured.
Yeah, I don't know who's running this communication strategy. It might actually be Donald Trump himself saying how he's going to respond to this. But if you remove Donald Trump from the conversation and remove even what may have been a gaffe or a manufactured moment, in the halls of Congress, there are some real concerns about the degree to which any impropriety might affect the next presidential election, one that we're right in the middle of. And if there are other concerns about collusion or participation by foreign governments into the U.S. election cycle, certainly that's been the concern since the election started last time. So, Donald Trump aside and his notes aside for a second, there are rational individuals within Congress who are concerned about where this might go.
Yeah. Given Sondland said he was taking the president's instruction through Rudy Giuliani, is it possible that Giuliani becomes the fall guy here?
Well, that certainly has been a tactic used by this White House. Lots of fall guys, lots of people in federal prison and facing federal charges as we speak. Every month seems to bring more and more of that. So Giuliani might be next. But what was also interesting was I was just following orders, very similar rhetoric to when we were back to Watergate, when that led to impeachment concerns about Nixon and ultimately his resignation, just following orders about breaking into the Democratic National Committee office at that point. So there are some very interesting salient moments that are coming through that might also be influencing how people think about this as a potential impeachment case.
On the sidelines, another Democratic presidential debate was taking place with the warning from Bernie Sanders that if they focus too much on Trump, they could lose the election. Does he have a point?
Well, two interesting revelations that have come out this week. First, Barack Obama saying that Democrats shouldn't go too far to the left, maybe not too surprising from Obama, who himself tended to go through a more centrist sort of administration himself and kept him out of a lot of great drama. So that was the first kind of shocking revelation this week. But from Bernie Sanders' perspective, look, Donald Trump is the elephant in the room. And can you really take this guy out politically by going straight at him? Are policies for the next administration, if it's not a Trump administration, going to be an anti-Trump policy platter? Are they going to be setting policy for the benefit of every single individual based upon whether they like Donald Trump or not? So, these concerns about setting policy and positions to win based upon how that relates to Donald Trump is really a narrow way of creating politics. And so I think there are good concerns coming along the campaign trail about how do we win, but how do we do so by making decisions that are right for Americans and not just that are anti-Donald Trump.
Yes, because all the polling suggests that Americans are very divided They don't shift much in their opinion of Donald Trump against him or with him, regardless of what comes out.
Yeah, and you have these debates, as I've said before, are just playbooks for the White House or any incumbent to look at how to jockey her or his position. So Democrats have to be, some of these conversations maybe should be had quietly in a room among Democrats about how to go forward instead of on a main stage where Donald Trump can be sitting with his oversized notes making comments about how he actually could win the election.
Which was interesting in itself. Robert, thanks so much.
Sure. Thank you.
And